All right, what's up, everybody? We're going to break down some of my takeaways from the Cavs preseason. Now, as always, we're not looking to make any sweeping conclusions from the preseason. All right, we're just going to talk about what we saw. We're going to try to point to some things that we want to see or don't want to see translate to the regular season. And so, before I do that, you know the drill. Please hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so all my new videos show up in your feed. And let's get started with my first takeaway now. Number one is I love the Cavs' new additions. Okay, now this is something that I already felt heading into the preseason, but it has just been reaffirmed when I got to watch Lonzo Ball and Larry Nance Jr. play together. Even Tyrese Proctor, who's been more exciting than I originally thought he would be. And while we haven't seen too much from Thomas Bryant, I'm still excited about him as a backup big as well. And I just think the additions to this team have given the Cavs so much depth and versatility, and getting to actually see it on the court was really good. Lonzo Ball was awesome in that final preseason game. I don't even have to tell you. You saw it. Just one of the most fun playmaking games I've ever seen, honestly. He really is one of the best passers and like processors in the NBA. He is so smart as a basketball player. If you stick him in this high-powered Cavs offense, it must just feel like he's playing in a sandbox right now because he gets to do whatever he wants. I think he's going to create so many problems for opposing defenses with the way that he can just push the pace, throw those kick ahead passes that jumpstart Cleveland's offense, and just all the different dribble handoffs and the lobs to the basket and the kickouts to the 3-point line. Lonzo's going to have so much fun playing on this team. He's so smart on both ends of the floor. He's 6'6", so he's got the ability to be an elite point of attack defender, which we've seen throughout his career. He can switch on to bigger opponents. He can do a little bit of everything for the Cavs. I think his rebounding in the backcourt is going to be important too. And maybe the biggest thing with Lonzo is that I thought he was moving really well out there. Like, he didn't look like a guy who had been injured 3 of the last 4 seasons, basically. He looked like someone who was moving very fluidly. I saw some burst. I saw some athleticism. I'm still like, I'm going to have a heart attack every time he does a hop step because I'm just like, please don't let anything happen to this man. But he did look like he was moving very well. And I thought he was moving like someone who wasn't afraid of getting injured. There's always that mental roadblock that you have to get through after you've recovered from an injury. Having an entire offseason where he didn't have any setbacks probably contributed to this confidence. And so I'm just really excited to see Lonzo Ball. As for Larry Nance, I'm excited to see him too, right? Running those dribble handoffs, setting screens, just getting things open for Cleveland's offense. I think he's a guy who can really grease the wheels for this offense. His playmaking and just his offensive awareness. Larry's a really good cutter, and he's a good screen setter too. He knows when to sneak up and just, slam someone with a screen when they're not expecting it. I think the Cavs, they're going to get a lot of openings with Larry Nance Jr. out there, either through his cutting back door or his screening at the appropriate time. And then, of course, he's still a good finisher at the rim. So he is a roller threat. He has a decently high motor, so he's going to clean up the glass and get some extra possessions for them on offense. And as a three-point shooter, look, the results in preseason weren't all that great, but I do expect that he'll be able to step up and space the floor a little bit for the Cavs. He's going to give them the ability to go 5 out with Mobley at the center. And when you do that and Nance is at the 4, you're not giving up really any size. So that's exciting stuff right there. And I'm just going to move into my second takeaway here because while I already mentioned him and he is technically an addition, I figured I'd give him a separate segment. So we're going to talk about Tyrese Proctor because this kid has something to him, right? There's something here with Tyrese Proctor. The Cavs have been noticing. Kenny Atkinson mentioned it. He said that Tyrese was a game changer in the final preseason game. Donovan Mitchell said that Tyrese has it, whatever it is. He's been learning the ropes really quickly. He's just soaking up all the information that he can. He's bugging Donovan Mitchell on team flights, asking him to explain certain concepts and schemes to him. This kid is just hungry to prove himself, right? And he's playing with a level of comfort and confidence out there that I think really means something because we've seen a lot of prospects who, no matter how hard they try, it just feels clunky and hesitant whenever they try to contribute in the offense. But Proctor, in this first preseason, he just fits right in perfectly. I mean, this is a seamless transition. He's got legit shooting talent. He can do it whether it's off the dribble or off the catch. His handle doesn't look like it's going to be as much of a problem as I worried about that it might be in Summer League. He actually looks very free getting around the court. And then on defense, look, we know he's a rookie guard, so it's not going to be perfect. But I thought Tyrese was doing some good things defensively in the preseason. And I think he has the tools to be a good 3-and-D guard in this league for a long time. I honestly see him being kind of like a Tyus Jones type of player, but if Tyus Jones was a little bit taller, a lot of bit taller, honestly, and even better on defense, but still, that could take a few years to develop, right? I'm not getting carried away here. I do think Tyrese, for his rookie season, basically just going to play spot minutes this season. Best case scenario, maybe he overtakes Craig Porter in the rotation as the third string point guard, but I wouldn't expect much more than that in his rookie season, just because I don't think it's fair to put those expectations on a rookie. So Tyrese Proctor really impressed me. I think that shooting is legit. It's going to make him a very good and very helpful role player in the NBA for a long time. When you package that with the fact that he's 6'5", 6'6", good defender, has some on-ball juice, a little bit of playmaking, lots of good stuff from Tyrese Proctor in the preseason. All right, moving to my third takeaway. This one should be a quick one. The Cavs defense seems like they want to be way more aggressive this year. I think Oklahoma City and Indiana's success last season, I think that's going to influence some things in the NBA, and I'm not the only person who has said that. One of the biggest influences that we're going to see is going to be that full court, relentless ball pressure that both Indiana and OKC did so well in the playoffs. If you can pick up an opposing ball handler full court and really disrupt them, really get into them and bother them, that's going to disrupt everything, because now the play is getting started a few seconds late, and there's just a trickle-down effect that can break entire possessions. We saw it in Cleveland, right? Like, good on-ball pressure is going to lead to the other team taking rush shots. It's going to lead to broken plays and a bunch of mistakes and turnovers. And so the Cavs, to me, look like they're going to try and replicate some of that this season. Now, I don't know if they have the perfect personnel for that, but Kenny and the players talked a lot about conditioning on media day. They talked about accepting that challenge of being a defensive-focused team again, and we saw some mixed results in the preseason with guys picking up full court again. The actual personnel could be a little dicey here. I thought Jalen Tyson did a good job. Lonzo Ball is obviously someone who can apply full court pressure, but you don't want to overwork him too much. Craig Porter Jr., I'll be honest with you, I like Craig. I don't know if he has the foot speed or the motor to be a full court pickup guy, but across the board, even if we're just talking just general half-court defense, I thought the Cavs were being super aggressive. They were being physical. They were trying to get deflections, steals, generate more turnovers. It seems like they were gambling a little bit more, but I mean that as a compliment. I don't mean that in a bad way, right? Like, they fouled a ton in that final preseason game. I don't remember how many fouls they finished with, but it felt like they were hitting people all over the place, and that's the physicality, the toughness, the willingness to get scrappy, get physical, right? That's what we've been wanting to see from this team. And I'm not going to overreact to one preseason game, but if that's something that we see throughout the regular season and into the playoffs, that would be huge. The Cavs last season were 14th in turnover percentage, so basically right in the middle of the league. And so I'm curious to see if they're able to crack into the top 10 and be one of the more disruptive defenses in the NBA. My next takeaway here, we're going to talk about the offense. Now, the offense is going to look a little bit interesting to start the season. I worry about the effect that we're going to see of not having three of your best shooters from last season. So if you think about it, Darius Garland's injured to start the year. We're not sure how much time he's going to miss. Max Strus is injured. He's probably going to miss much more time than Darius does. And then Ty Jerome left in the offseason. So that's three of your best shooters from last year are no longer playing right now. You're replacing that starting lineup with DeAndre Hunter and Sam Merrill in place of Max Strus and Darius. So, they do fill that void in terms of the three-point shooting very well. But then when you get on the bench, if you look at it right now, you got Lonzo, CPJ, Tyson, Larry, and Wade are going to be like your next four guys off the bench. And that's not exactly an elite three-point shooting bench, right? You don't have any gunners there. Now, they have skills that, contribute to winning in their own way. And maybe Tyrese Proctor, like we mentioned, can step up and fill some more minutes than we originally thought. But either way, that offense is not going to be scorching teams from deep the way that they did last year, right? They're going to have to tap more into a defensive identity and find a way to keep the ball moving on offense to generate some clean looks. And it's not going to be as simple as Ty Jerome just pulling up from 30 feet and going on a heater. The Cavs are going to have to find other ways to score. And that leads me to my final takeaway here. Evan Mobley's got to be the guy to start off the year. He's got to get off to a hot start. And I think he's gonna, because everyone around this team has just been raving about how good Evan Mobley has become, how much better he is this offseason, how locked in he's been, and just his entire demeanor has seemingly changed when the Cavs talk about him. And I know it's just talk. We got to see it actually show up on the court, but I'm excited because I think most of the preseason, we saw a glimpse of a new version of Evan Mobley. I think Mobley is ready to become the Cavs' best player. And that means being aggressive enough to lead the team in field goal attempts like he did, even when he was missing in that final preseason game. He was 3 for 13, I believe, but he still led the team in field goal attempts. I know it's a preseason game. I know it's silly, but if he's going to be that aggressive looking for his own shot, even when he doesn't have it going, that's going to me, signal that his mindset has changed, that he understands he needs to be the guy more often than not. I thought, in the preseason, the fact that we saw him taking a few extra dribbles, trying to probe, trying to find his own shot instead of deferring to his teammates, that was big. I think Mobley, to me, looks like he has some full grown man strength to him now, right? Like he's really rounded out his frame. The strength isn't a weakness to him anymore. And he's been shooting the hell out of the ball from the mid range and from the 3-point line. We know that he can get to the rim and finish in a bunch of ways. We know that he's one of the best defenders in the world. And if he adds, takes another leap in terms of his scoring volume, especially the self-created scoring, then we're looking at a borderline MVP candidate right now. I think it gets complicated when we talk about who the best player is in Cleveland, because Donovan Mitchell, like I'll just say it, he's always going to be the leading scorer on this team. He's just flat out the best scorer on the roster. He's probably one of the 10 best scorers in the league, one of the best bucket getters on the planet right now. So that's not a knock on Mobley to say that the ball should probably be in Mitchell's hands more often, because he is just a gifted 3-level scorer. He's a really great playmaker when he wants to be too. But as I said, we know that Mobley is already an elite defender. He won Defensive Player of the Year last year. And so if he's able to narrow that gap offensively and just get it to the point where, sure, Mitchell might be the leading scorer, but Mobley isn't too far behind. And on any given night, it could be Mobley leading the way with his scoring. If you get to that point, that's where you get Mobley being the Cavs' best player on the team without necessarily scoring the most points. I know typically we think that every team's best player is their leading scorer, and 99% of the time that's true, but this is one of those weird situations where it's not the case. And so that's my takeaways from the preseason. I think it's going to be another fun year for Cavs basketball. I'm really excited to get to cover the games this year and continue to do the podcast and all these YouTube videos. So like I said at the top, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any future videos. Drop me a like and leave me a comment with your thoughts on the Cavs preseason. Thank you for watching, and as always, go Cavs.